Breaking Bad, aka No Country for Old Men, but with meth, is something I'm excited to talk about because I'm from New Mexico. When it first came out, I heard my teachers talking about it, and I actually thought it was just something going on in Albuquerque because, to be honest, it didn't sound too far-fetched. When the series ended, one of my friends called me up for a ride so they wouldn't miss the finale. I stayed and watched it too, and that was the first episode of Breaking Bad I ever saw. I ended up binge watching it from the start on Netflix and thought it was just funny. The opening sequence almost reads as cheesy. A lot of stories will start you at the height of one of the most dramatic moments for the characters. Rick and Morty made fun of this in the Purge episode. However, in this case, it introduces us to Walt in a very unique way. While BoJack had a slow simmer to the punch that had turned away audiences, Vince Gilligan couldn't take that same risk with Breaking Bad, because it's exactly how Walt is as a character. People will get turned off by a boring beginning and have to work harder to see the meat of the story, which is what most people don't do. To capture a wider audience, he made it so they wouldn't want to stop watching. Walter White as a character is a boring man, but with darkness inside of him that all the people in his life will not experience until much later. We as the audience need to see that now. People who are quiet aren't dangerous people unless the only times they do want to speak up is to be violent. Sorry, kid, but yeah, maybe that joke your peers didn't like would have landed if that wasn't the only thing you contributed all semester. Walter White is a quiet, unassuming man who starts to have plenty to say once the subjects of drugs and violence comes up. Let's get this straight right away. This show is so much about masculinity that it makes Red Dead Redemption 2 look like Hello Kitty Island Adventure. Specifically, it's about the cause and effect that self-perception enables in someone who sees themselves as a man in American society. His video to his family is pathetic. To someone who doesn't know his relationship dynamic with his family, these are just words he's saying out of fear and self-assurance. One thing with Walter is that when he's speaking emotionally, he is almost always lying. He didn't start doing that after becoming Heisenberg. He didn't have a sudden character change after seeing meth for the first time. What I want people to understand about the character is that he was always like this. Like any other person who is constantly thinking bad things, his actions ultimately become a way to preserve the lie he believes about himself. He is not free. Walter was always a prisoner of his own mind. He sees his cancer diagnosis as a way to break free, but to everyone else watching, it's just an excuse to take his pain out on others and pretend his life was worth much more than what he made it. Just the way he says, "I hope you know that," is so annoying because he's not confident with her, even in the face of danger. It's very Jerry, but at least Jerry's cowardice isn't self-serving and a malignant false reality. Just saying less words that you have a problem with your wife, bro. You know you haven't done enough to show her love, and you cuck yourself every time you see her notice that. Truly, the only genuine words he speaks are towards his son, and it's nothing I can praise fully because it's only by seeing Walt Jr. as a reflection of himself and as his weaknesses, not for who Walt Jr. truly is as a person. Yeah, Walt, I am sure you had the idea of your son in your heart, but as we can all see, your imagination doesn't coincide with reality. The words are only genuine in the way that Walt's lies are genuine to himself. I can tell you right now why someone like Tony Soprano is seen as more of a man than someone like Walter White. It's because although they're both living in the moment, only one of those types of people is making an effort to be a part of it. Without Tony Soprano, many things become more difficult. Walter White already lives as if he's replaceable in his own life. That's why the cancer diagnosis shook him, and Tony's own medical diagnosis is a mild annoyance, even though both understand the severity and weight of their situations. Tony has made himself irreplaceable and purposeful, whereas Walter has made his life a reminder of what not to be, even when he thinks he's doing the right thing. Although there are plenty of aspects that are distasteful about Tony, they are both wearing masks for survival, but Walt doesn't suit his own desires at all. He's playing the image of what he thinks is a father, a man, a lover, a person. The truth is, a man can be anyone. A person can be anyone. Having a nice haircut and dressing a certain way doesn't mean anything. That's why in American culture, most people are both shallow and easily fooled by image. Walter could be compared to Patrick Bateman from American Psycho. Their maintenance is based around an image. Tony's maintenance isn't about keeping up an image, it's just who he is. It's unspoken that he's in the mob, not hidden. Tony doesn't fetishize his mental illness as he experiences it. Murdering doesn't inspire him. Walter is simply going through a late mental puberty.